Welcome to CCRPG, where we open up our virtual table and play games with some good friends. I'm Bob, and I'll be running Lancer, an RPG by Miguel Lopez and Tom Parkinson-Morgan. You can find it at Massive Press on itch.io. Last session, our pilots returned safely from their successful mission for the Ruined Chain. The DBC, on the other hand, took a beating. Now, spending some time on Moot while their ship gets repaired, the DBC crew have their pay on hand and some things to follow up on. First, we're going to check in with our pilots to see what new things everyone has going on at License Level 4. How's it going, everyone?
Pretty good.
Can't complain.
It's going well.
All right, we're going to go ahead and jump in. Everyone got their pay for their mission. The DBC is on course for being repair. Curry has taken charge of that, gotten his buy lists out there. And you guys all have, the remainder money to source materials and do the things you need to do. So I'm going to go through all of you, and we're going to find out what new upgrades you have, where those things came from, and ultimately what you guys are doing in this downtime. I will say, to follow up on something that we finished on last time, Rock, the casino chip that has a microchip inside of it that is advertising a casino, there was a date attached to that. It's approximately a week and a half out from the time you receive the chip, and also on it is a unique digital signature on the chip itself, which when examined is kind of like a key, like a digital key. So you imagine you would want to hold on to this casino chip. All right. Well,
Noted.
Who wants to go first?
Sure, I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's start with Dyne. What did you get? How did you get it? How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good, and so is Artemis.
New toys.
Because for my talent this time around, I picked up Technophile rank 3, which evolves her into an Enlightenment class NHP, along with a couple of new bonuses. Primary of which, AIs installed in my mech can no longer cascade, so that is no longer a role I actually have to worry about when I get structured. And
That's
as you guys
nice.
know, I get structured a lot.
You are part of Team Chew Toy, so
Yes.
yeah.
And as a side bonus, Artemis can now actually travel with me. Enlightenment class NHP can actually be removed from the mech and function outside of the mech in a multitude of different forms, depending on how I want to go about it. And she still retains her once per round bonus with my mech skill checks or saves during combat.
It's really concerning more than anything else. But you give that thing
Okay,
mobility.
I'm glad you said it and not me.
And as far as licenses go from the mechs, I picked up rank 3 of the Sherman to max that out. And with that came a new AI. Now, normally you can only pick up one AI. You can only have one AI per mech, but part of Enlightenment rank 3 is that Artemis no longer counts towards that cap, so I can install a second AI into the Prometheus. And my new AI grants me a once per scene ability where I can expend one of its charges to gain either 2 additional quick actions or 1 additional full action. So I'm going to be shooting a lot of things.
Yeah, it's
hopefully.
almost like your mech is being piloted by multiple people at the same time.
Who would
It's
have
getting
thought?
crowded in there.
Yeah.
Madness.
Let's hope we
Actually-
don't get a too many cooks situation.
Yeah.
We can only hope.
Too many cooks. Too many
Let's
let's
really
be
hope
fair.
it's not that situation.
Let's be fair.
It takes a lot to make us.
The Prometheus is going to be cooking a lot of things.
That's also very thematically true.
Actually, I was wondering, how does we were talking about this before the recording, but we never actually answered the question. How does Artemis exist outside the mech? Like, is it part of your suit? Is there a cradle? Or...
So I kind of have 2 different states. I'm not always wearing my hard suit at all times, obviously.
You're not?
I don't walk around in full combat armor.
I
No,
don't know. Maybe I
people
can update my art for you.
People would be a little jarred by it if you walked around in power armor all the time. Yeah.
But when I am in the combat suit, I have a port that I can put Artemis in where she can assist us in whatever way is necessary if I think it's necessary. And for just normal, I kind of have like a laptop-like thing which I can carry around, and Artemis can contact us and work with us from there.
All right,
Cool.
got it. So you have like basically a large casket-sized PDA type thing that's like
Exactly.
that Artemis is kind of loaded onto.
And I have the backup of Artemis on the DBC, so if something were to happen, it's like
She's
not totally screwed.
she's literally a personal digital assistant.
A personal digital assistant who has a fascination with guns.
Yeah, that's
She's
not
a more violent Alexa.
Yeah.
I like how at all times we can just go, and that's not concerning at all. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Fearless whispers.
I still
Artemis,
remember the last mission. We just hear Artemis laughing as things are getting vaporized.
Yeah.
Hey Artemis, what's the weather today? What's the best weapon to kill this enemy?
Yeah. Hey Artemis, what's the tensile strength of that Kevlar?
Not strong enough to handle a bunker buster. Thanks, Artemis.
Well, I mean, I would always recommend overwhelming force, as you know. All right, so yeah, so Jeremy, that kind of like gives us a little bit of what you picked up there. What's like, how did you get these things? How did you get a hold of them? Where's all this stuff coming from?
So, Artemis was kind of Dyne's thing, where he realized he needed the help. So the Artemis's upgrades has been him, but the Asura class NHP from the upgraded Sherman is something that Dion, who is the creator of the Prometheus and like constantly upgrading, he created it specifically to help Dyne manage all of the increasingly complicated systems and to try and push it to its absolute limit.
Nice. All right, so yeah, we have your a new extra AI that Dion sent you. That is kind of going to be in charge of those parts of the mech. You're quickly becoming more the executive function person of the mech, while other people take care of everything else. In many ways, you're becoming more like the brain of your mech, while Artemis is becoming your reflexes, and your other AI is becoming like its automatic like functions. Your mech is becoming more and more like an organism.
That's how many more brains can I add into this thing?
Right? Now you need another AI that functions your AI's subconscious, and we can start to classify it as a consciousness or something.
I mean, that's a thing I can choose. I can add another AI eventually.
Eventually.
But for now, I think Artemis would be happy if I added more weapons.
Yeah, probably. All right, so is that all for you for now, Orion, for where your stuff came from and whatnot?
That's all I've got.
All right, who's next?
I'll go.
All right, yeah, Rock.
So I have finally an autoloader drone.
Oh, thank goodness. I've had to hear about you wanting this thing since we started the game.
Because loading weapons are dumb, but powerful. So yeah, I've got the autoloader drone and now a weapon cartridge or ammo cartridge cases, so I can arc my shots like Dyne does.
Nice. And how about where you received these new toys to play with?
So that is something I asked my friends for help with. So I am ORION and CHIMERA, I believe, worked together to make that drone for me. I like to think that it works pretty well, but if it ever just stops working in the middle of battle, I get to blame them.
Yes.
I blame
yes.
Chimera for not using high-quality futuristic duct tape.
Gorilla tape.
I blame Orion for choosing the cheaper of the materials to make the weapon casings.
You got to use the high-quality material for the actual bullets that he's firing. Come on.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I got for this time.
Have you had a chance to test these things out yet, or is it more theoretical that these things should work for you?
Well, they better work. Chimera guaranteed it.
I didn't guarantee anything. I said they'll probably work.
It's a guarantee, I think.
So cool. You're gonna have.
You hear what you want to hear.
You're gonna have basically a new set of ammo casing and munitions that you get to try out with your super highly experimental mech. So I bet in the future the people who are having you test that are gonna be like, oh, you had other random variables that you tested it with? Great, I want that data. So that'll be cool.
I just assume that my mech automatically records
it does
data all the time.
Oh yeah, it's there's constantly something running in the background that's just spitting logs somewhere into some hard drive. All right, who wants to tell us what they picked up next?
Yeah, I can go. Or
Okay.
Chuck, if you want to go.
Yeah, if you don't
Eager
mind.
Beaver. Yeah, go.
Beaver?
Eager Beaver.
I am an eager beaver, thank you very much. So for Chimera, basically kind of went the rest of the way with the Vlad build. So now Chimera has a bunch of big, terrifying weapons to carry around. I mean, the big one, and which we've been talking about for a while now, is the drill, which I would imagine Evelene found in a very irregular way. Like, I imagine that while purchasing equipment for the DBC, Evelene was with Honora, and basically they were going down the rows of like, okay, I need this, I need this, I need these bombs, I need these materials for whatever Rock is trying to get us to build. And I think it'll work. We'll find out eventually. And then we stopped at a drill. There's just a random drill on the shelf. And I thought that might be fun to like actually play out at some point, but I imagine that's where we got the drill.
Yeah, so basically, how you got your upgrades is you went on a shopping trip.
Yeah,
okay.
Basically.
So you get to Honora's shop. Well, you were just there a few days ago. And you're like,
money.
Okay, yeah, but now you have money. Because very pointedly last time, she was like, you came here without your money? What the hell? So
Chimera rolls up to the shop and, Honora, get in, bitch. We're going shopping.
But yeah, you show up this time, and with money, you can be convinced to hand over.
Yep.
And Nora's like, oh, Evelene, you're back. What's the visit for?
Yes, I have money this time.
That's what I wanted to hear. All right.
Also this, and I'll hold up a bottle of booze.
Oh, you know me so well. Come on in. Come on in.
This is a discount, right? As I walk in.
How much did it cost?
Enough.
All right, then it'll be enough of a discount.
All right. And then I'll follow her in.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, you already described she's gonna like take you through, show you what she has, some things that she just, either they were like something they had to basically write off and was like, we're not gonna be able to repair this, so we're just gonna scrap it for parts, and a lot of that kind of stuff makes their way into Honora's inventory here. She takes you back into like the large storage, which tends to be what you're looking for when you come here. You're not often repairing speeder bikes, so she takes you to her more industrial, attached warehouse area. And yeah, is anyone here with you?
I think we were toying around with maybe Dyne potentially coming if he was interested.
Yeah, I mean, Dyne has some shopping that he needs to do for some upgrades to the big cannon. So yeah, let's go.
So yeah, and I don't know. Have you met Honora before? Do you think you have?
I maybe in passing, but I don't think much contact. Like she knows of me, but
yeah. I'll say this is the other half of our outfit. That tends to take the damage and deal with both at the same time.
All right. Sounds right. My name's Honora. How you doing?
Good to meet you, Honora. I'm Dyne.
Nice to meet you. hope as you get a look around, you can be convinced that we have things that you'll want to buy.
Well, hopefully. I've got a list of parts that I need. Got a weapon that needs upgrading so it can shoot better.
I think we can
That's
help
usually
with
how
that.
it works.
That tends to be things that people want. I'll tell you what. While we're going through the stacks and Eveline's looking around, why don't you hand off your parts list to one of my associates, and they'll see if they can source some things for you, okay?
No problem.
So yeah, she has like 2 to 3 assistants in the shop that handle most of the heavy lifting. You see that 2 of them right now have the same kind of like hover tank up on lifters that was here a few days ago when CHIMERA was here. But it looks like there is significantly less of it there than there was 3 days ago. Yeah, one of them comes up to you and he'll take your parts list. He kind of like goes through it, nods, and just like, all right, I'll see what we got in the back. Feel free to accompany your friend. Before you leave, just check in with me. I'll let you know if we have to order any of these.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'll
but
just
yeah,
smile, look at like the laptop case that I brought with me. Artemis will just pop on screen for a second and then pop off.
just very briefly, just green Hunter's face paint appears, like you get the feeling is examining things and then just retreats. Just is like, no, nothing interesting right now.
I'll murmur to Dyne, saying like, "Are you sure this was a good idea to bring Artemis? You think this might be a little overwhelming for her?"
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
I mean, she can't like,
Not
jump
yet.
to any of these weapons.
Not yet.
I'll just take a glance at the casing, and I'll look at Dyne again. And I'll look at the casing, and I'll say like, "All right."
All right.
Continuing on.
Yeah, Honora will take you into the back so that you guys can take a look through all of her larger scale equipment. She'll just talk about like, oh yeah, well, a bit of conflict recently. If I look around, I bet there's even some corporate parts that we can find in here if you need replacements for any motivators or circuits. But if you're looking for hardware, that's more stored on our shelves. So she'll take you back to these large shelves that are only shelves in name. It's more like a wall that has a bunch of like arms, like robotic arms that are arranged in different ways, holding all of these things. And you'll see as she approaches the wall, she like types in something on this keypad, and a variety of these arms will actually like lift certain items off the wall a little bit and then like hold them in different configurations or lower them to the ground as needed. They're all like basically robotic arms on tracks that go up and down the wall, so they can hold a variety of large scale items in different orientations on the wall.
I like that. Also, I kind of like the idea of like she has an extra arm sometimes around to do like a Vanna White presentation. So like it just kind of motions to different parts of it as she's describing it.
Yeah. So I imagine she goes through a few things that are largely unimpressive. Guns that are just like GMS style guns. You know what I mean? Like very basic. Like, well, we have a lot of very very standard mechs that have lost pieces, and we have arms and arms, if you know what I mean, just kind of laying around. So you see things like, the normal reliable assault rifle and stuff like that in case he needed spares or whatnot. But I think after a while, Evelene, you would spot the thing that kind of catches your eye here.
Basically, as we're just going through the weapons, like her eyes stop at this drill, and then she kind of nudges Honora to like, so tell me why you have a West Manfield Mark III mining drill?
Why the hell do you know the exact registration of that drill?
Look, I know my drills. Heck, Look,
She
the shield.
she does the thing where she like holds her hands back. Okay, you know your drills. Sure.
Look. You're gonna shimmy and say that you have a West Manfield Joe with a top speed of 2,000 RPM, weighs 25 tons, and cuts through hard rock like hot milk through butter. Hot knife through butter. Wow, I butchered that last part.
She's like, well, if you want to take a look at it, I think we got it off of there was some sort of industrial mining accident on some planet. It was classified or something. We didn't get a lot of info about what happened there, but a lot of parts came out of it, and I was able to, well, let's just say a friend of mine said he found this that didn't quite get to its destination on a shipment. So she'll key in something, and then these two arms kind of reorient, and then the backs where they're connected to the wall kind of on their tracks slide down the wall as it kind of like holds it out in front of you, like presenting the drill. And another arm comes down and waves over the drill, pointing out different parts of the drill for you.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. What are these? Like some sort of projectors? Microplastic projector. Why the hell do you have microplastic projectors on this thing?
My dear, it came that way. I think it's great. I like it a lot, but I wasn't going to turn them off.
I mean, I could take it off your hands. I'm just saying, I mean, you're not going to find many other people who are going to know exactly what you've got. I mean, most people are going to say, like, she's got a drill, big deal, I want a gun. But I could take it off your hands because I know exactly what it is. I know exactly how to use it.
Why do you want a big mining drill? I thought you were in the whole mercenary business now.
Well, I mean, it's not every day you see a drill outside the mining court. And two, I figure, like, I can make this work. A little creativity, and I think this could be a useful weapon.
She just shrugs, is like, all right, it's your call. I'll tell you what, you're gonna be unique.
Nothing wrong with that. And I'll just start, like, eyeing up, like, try to how to even connect this to a mech.
She like has it lower to the ground, and then like the arms kind of place it on like a little like a dolly for you, like like an industrial sized one, basically.
Yeah, let's say, like, I don't think this is something I can push by myself.
No, it has like it has one of those things where it's like a little like tricycle thing on the front of it, like a little motored tricycle on the front that like pulls it around. And she's like, all right, well, listen, I wasn't sure how quickly I was going to be able to offload this, so I guess I can give you my friend discount on it. But I'm going to have to ring you up as it's close to its full price. This thing is like pristine.
Is it? Because you just admitted a minute ago it was gently used.
Well, you could take a look at it yourself, Evelene, but whatever thing this was attached to, I don't know if it ever got attached, because this thing, when I got it, everything seemed almost brand new.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Listen,
I like you.
I run a secondhand business here, but I have to make money off of these deals, and this is as close to new as you're gonna get out of me.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm not gonna give you the bullshit. Let's put it in the pile.
All right, to the pile it is. She types something in on the keypad on the front, and this automated like tricycle thing just will wheel the industrial dolly up towards the front of the warehouse for you. It is a gigantic mining drill. There are no connectors on it to attach it to a mech. It is largely secondhand industrial equipment, but I have a feeling you'll be able to make it work.
Yeah, just give me some time.
And a lot of duct tape.
Oh, a hell of a lot of duct tape. Space
gorilla tape a thing?
Space gorilla tape.
That place is starting to sound more and more like space IKEA.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit.
Look, I imagine the carts are literal gigantic grocery carts.
Yeah, I don't imagine as many as IKEA's furniture comes off of destroyed other things as it does here. But maybe it does. Who am I to say? Maybe IKEA's furniture is salvaged from like destroyed space homes or something. Who knows?
I mean,
Well, it's certainly not from itself. I don't know if you've ever moved an IKEA bookshelf. But those things disintegrate when you move them.
I did when I moved into this house and decided it was easier to put all the pieces in the trash.
Yes.
So
they want you to buy a new one when you move, not take the old one.
That is correct. But yeah, so you have acquired your giant drill, Chimera. Is there anything else you wanted to do while you were here?
I think that's the main thing in terms of narrative. I mean, I'm sure I definitely wanted to get parts for, I'm sure we have the list of parts from Curry to fix up the DVC. And
yeah,
I think I've taken a personal interest in making sure we actually finish that shielded room at some point. So I assume we might be able to get the specialized parts here or somewhere else.
As you guys are walking past some stuff, you will both just hear a slightly farther away voice, coming from Dyne's direction. Just go, I want that.
Is that Violet Beauregard?
No, but it is like a demanding feminine voice coming from Dyne. Dyne, as you freeze, you realize that Artemis has come alive and is staring at one of the racks.
I look at the rack and I go, what is it?
It is just a crate full of munitions. It is like explosives. It is a crate full of explosives.
I look at the crate full of explosives and I go, not today, Artemis. Today, we're upgrading the ZF-4 to be the best that it can be. We'll come back later.
But these explode, and I could have them now.
That is true.
Honora, confused, just stops and goes, "Who's that talking?"
I hold up the computer and point to Artemis. I go, "This is my AI."
Artemis, the green face paint kind of emerges on the screen and just says, "Hello, weapons dealer. I would like your finest explosives."
Give me your finest potions.
Dyne just kind of does a facepalm.
Your computer? Want to buy something?
Dyne sighs and he goes, okay, we'll buy some of them.
I mean,
I'm sure we can find a use for them.
I'd be happy to get these off my hand. You'd be surprised at how hard it is to move all of these things. It just came to me in kind of like a getting things off the shelf deal. I think it's basically a bunch of mining explosives combined with repurposed military hardware. I didn't know if I was going to find a buyer for it. I haven't had time to sort through it all. So it's on discount if you want it.
Bob, can I buy these as a reserve for potential future uses?
Yes, you can.
Then that is what Dyne is going to do.
Okay, so yes, you basically have bought a giant box of what you believe to be some combination of mining explosives, repurposed military hardware, and other random assorted things that Honora hasn't had the time to sort through. In terms of where this all came from, she doesn't have a good idea of where it came from. She bought it from a guy who was just like, I don't know. I got all this stuff. I put it all together and I'm trying to get it off my hands. So you don't know the source of these things.
All right, so Dyne will buy it, and then throughout the week, as his downtime action, he's going to sift through it and figure out what all of it is and what it does.
Perfect. All right, that sounds good to me. All right, and then I believe that covers you, Chimera.
Yeah, I'm set.
All right. Well,
Thank you, Chimera.
gave
I mean, I got my drill, I got my parts. I'm gonna fix the shielded room. I'm happy.
gave Orion a good direction to go for his downtime activity too, so that works out. And not to leave you languishing there, my good friend Astro, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
I know it must be hard for you to stay out of the spotlight for so long, but they saved the best for last. Sometimes you save the worst for last. I don't know really what we're saying about you, but here we are. Astro.
I'll just assume everyone's saying good things.
Yeah, it's all good things.
Yeah, it makes life easier.
Astro, you've done quite a bit with your upgrade, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. I ended up reallocating one of my licenses to a different rank from my license to a different rank. So I had like rank 1 and I forgot what it was called, like Shadowing. It was SSC Shadowing or whatever. And I reallocated that to the Horus Goblin because I like some of the hacking stuff it gives you. And I also like a new weapon it gives me. So I think it really works well with like how I'm always locking on and stuff. So like this one weapon I have, the autopod, will give me a reaction that if anyone shoots someone that is and uses lock on within my range, I could just use my reaction and also attack them. So I got that. I got, like I said, I got a system upgrade that gives me some new invade actions when I'm hacking people. And I've also leveled up my Swallowtail to rank 3, which gives me a Athena class and HP. So I'm getting all this stuff from my corporate sponsor at Symbolica Labs. Last session, I think I reached out to my contact there, CHIMERA, who's the head of R&D there, and they've been kind of sending me some like prototype technology for me to test and stuff. So I think when we arrive on Moot, I eventually have a delivery waiting for me. With a new gear and a software package for the Athena class AI. So this new AI is going to allow me to monitor the battlefield better. It constructs, the description says it constructs a perfect real-time, fully interactive 3D model of a Blast 3 area within range 50. So anyone in there has lock on. I know all their stats. They can't be invisible. They can't be hidden. So that's going to be very useful in the battlefield. So when I get this package, I think I'm going to call on Dyne to help me install my new AI, since Dyne's sort of our resident expert.
I've moved from medical doctor into just doctor.
Someone might call you multiple disciplinarian.
This was not intended. This is just how it happened, and I'm happy with it.
Doctor of all trades. You're an intellectual, see?
As Dyne's installing the AI, he's just like, so you've moved from being the director of a movie to director of the battlefield. Got it.
Hey, I like that. That works for me.
I mean, that's essentially what this does. You project.
It's always how I've seen myself anyway.
Well, now you can see the entire battlefield with clarity.
Yes. It's just how I like it. And, I sit back from the action and I give little, support and tips to the rest of you who are in the fray.
All right.
Just as long as it's not style tips.
Yeah.
In the middle of battle.
Well, we'll see. We'll see on that. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold back. Astro might well up in
promises.
You. Yeah, no promises. Between the two of you, you're able to unpack, identify, and figure out and follow the Lego-like instructions that they sent you, assuming that Astro would need very detailed instructions on exactly what to do to get everything installed in his mech. But Orion is there to make things a little bit simpler for him. You're able to get it installed, and it is a rather intensive upgrade to your systems there, COMET. So after you and Orion are all set up, it's one of those things. It's like, oh, now I have to let my mech update. You have to like restart your mech, and it does the thing where it reboots, but it just reboots to like a loading bar, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have to let it process this for a while.
Then it reboots again for some reason.
Yeah, it gets like halfway through the update, and then it reboots again to load like a sub-packed update to get it further and stuff. Yeah, it's your mech is down for the count for a few days while it's basically getting its entire OS rewritten.
Well, looks like I'm not the only you're not the only game in town when it comes to AI, Dyne. Any tips?
Dyne just smiles. So you haven't met my new AI, then, have you?
You have a new AI. You see Astro's eyes widen.
Yeah.
Are you sure that's wise?
Well, this one was one created by Dion specifically for the Prometheus, so I think so. It's quickly becoming way more than I can handle on my own.
Okay, well, I trust you can handle it. What's their name? What's the new AI's name?
The new AI is Castor.
I hope Castor's not as bloodthirsty as Artemis.
No, he seems to be pretty calm overall, which is good, considering Artemis probably has enough, bluster for everything, for both of us.
Cut to Castor in the mech. Secondary objective: kill all humans. Kill all humans. Kill all humans.
He's just very calm about it, you know.
Well, yeah, when you're around,
right?
Yeah. But like when he and Artemis are hanging out, well, they talk about something else.
We're gonna construct a Toy Story like scenario where after you just fill your mech with AIs, we're gonna leave you and have like a whole episode where we just find out what they get up to.
Misadventures of the AI.
Yeah. All right. And anything else, COMET, for background on your new abilities and whatnot?
With a Swallowtail rank 3, I have some other systems that I have access to, but I haven't installed yet. So, like, one of those things is a cloaking system, but I'm not installing that in my mech. But I assume that's like maybe something Symbolica sent me schematics for. So in the future, if I want to add that, I may very well do that.
That makes sense. It's like, here is a suite of a variety of different things that Symbolica has for you, and also like in-depth forms to fill out for each of them as well, that are like, well, if you decide to use this one, fill out this form and send it back to us. And you're you have them set aside for now, but they are available to you, so that's good. You have a lot of presents that you haven't had time to like sort through, essentially.
Indeed.
Oh man, that cloaking field costs 4 SP. Holy crap. That's
expensive.
I know, right? Your mech has to really focus on it to use it. So yeah,
it's pretty intense. All right, cool. Well, then I will check back on my AI once it's installed.
Cool.
Later on.
All right, guys, then that is kind of a recap of what y'all did with your license level upgrades and the various resources you have access to now that you got your new payment from what's left over after repairing the DBC. So now, what all do you want to do leading up to, I imagine you guys are going to want to do something on the day and date of the casino chip lead that you have. So leading up to that, what are you guys doing? Do you want to do your downtime actions? Do you have leads you want to follow up? Is there someone you want to go visit? What do you guys want to do?
Dyne has some bombs he wants to sort through and us other assortment parts. now that he owns them.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Do you want that to be the thing you're doing for the next few days? Because
Yeah.
I imagine this is one of those things where it's like you pull something out, it's in a metal canister, it has like a serial number half scraped off of it, and you're like, I don't know where this came from. I'm going to have to do an intense amount of space Googling to see if I can identify what this is and whether or not it'll explode if I break the seal or not. So,
yeah.
Did Dyne effectively get a bomb blind box?
Yes, he did. That is exactly what he got.
I'm just gonna say in my mind, not out loud. Thanks, Artemis.
Yeah, Artemis is basically in the computer as you're researching these things, and she is like helping you're sorting things, but also she gets distracted sometimes, and she's like, well, it's not this, but we could order one of these. I think it would be helpful if we had one of these. Because every time you're looking up a new thing that's not the thing in the box, she's like, well, it isn't this, but we could use this. Maybe we should get this.
And some of the times I'm responding, and some of the times I'm just rolling my eyes out of her line of sight.
She every time you don't respond, every time you don't tell her no, she adds it to a wish list on your account.
Oh gosh.
So you'll be getting notifications for like the next 2 years whenever these fucking bombs go on sale.
Fantastic.
Does she know about Space Christmas? Is this going to be like on her wish list?
Oh, well,
Evelene, if you tell her about Space Christmas, I will kill you.
She would have figured it out eventually.
Evelyn will just die by tuna. That's how she's going to die.
Is there only one Santa Claus, or is there like a Santa Claus per planet?
The same questions all 10-year-olds in this universe ask.
Well, Artemis, if you really want it, you have to ask Astro.
I see your recommendation, but I believe it would be more efficient if I was to ask Torsay. She seems to control the purse strings.
You're right.
Artemis nods in her very kind of like glitchy way, as in like she blinks in affirmation, and you've like learned to interpret that as like an affirmation, but you're not sure what she actually means by that.
I go, speaking of which, Artemis, and I kind of upload some schematics to her. This is what Dion is working on at the moment. And in these schematics include a reactor system to help manage heat so we can fire more often, a way to weaponize fuel rods, and a weapon that's simply called the Annihilator.
I think Dion might be my favorite person.
He's currently working on these. We won't get them quite yet, but they're coming down the pipeline.
This is good. Dion can stay.
I'm glad you're happy with him. Because so am I.
So Artemis is making a list of people that can stay and, apparently who can't stay. So that's not concerning.
Well, you don't make a list for who can't stay. That's just
it's just everyone else, right? It's everyone who's not on that list. True. Yeah. Why make two lists? That's inefficient.
You want to keep the list that's shorter.
Yeah. That's thinking like an AI.
Yeah, that's true. That's a very efficient way to think about it.
All right. Do you want me to do a roll on whatever I'm looking at?
Yes. So we are going to do this as your downtime action. So this will be let's see. It'll probably be we always end up on get creative for you. I don't think that quite works here. Let's see. Get organized. Nope.
I mean, maybe you could power at a cost.
Yeah, power to cost is an option. It's definitely like if you just want to take the downsides, I can just give you a bonus. And then I think this might be scrounge and barter. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's scrounge and barter.
Because you're basically dredging a scrapyard, right? That's part of this description. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and have you make a pilot check on this.
All right. Let's see. I think while engineering makes sense, it's not quite doesn't quite fit with how I decided to describe the trait. So I think investigate is probably the best one for this. Research a subject or study something in great detail.
Yeah, that makes sense for this. You're really poring over like all these odd manufacturers of various things that are dangerous.
Yeah. So that'll give me a +2 because I don't think I have anything else that's better. So we'll go with that. And I rolled a 4.
Oh, that's not great. All right, so here's the thing: is you still get something on a scrounge and barter with a 4. But on a 9 or less, you have to choose one of these things. And these are all great because it makes complete sense with what you're doing. It was either stolen, probably from someone who's looking for it. It's degraded, old, filthy, or malfunctioning. Or someone else has it right now and won't give it up. So it can't be that one. But the first two make a whole lot of sense with just going through a box of random parts. So which do you think is better?
I think thematically, I would rather go it's degraded, old, filthy, or malfunctioning, because I know that Dyne can work with Evelene to try and make it more functioning.
Okay. So let's determine what kind of reserves you get here. So it's probably going to be either a mech reserve or a tactical reserve. We can make this a bombardment if you want to use this as like the various explosives in here as some sort of explosives. Now, remember, whatever we choose to give you on this, it will have a downside since you got the malfunctioning version of it. So keep that in mind while choosing this. We could say that maybe in here you found some sort of smart ammo that you can, upgrade some of your weapons to use smart ammo for a little bit while you have access to these. Maybe there is enough stuff in here that you get extra ammo, so you get extra uses of a limited weapon or system. It would be hard for me to approve this to be extra ammo for your like AI charges and stuff, though, because that's not really
that doesn't make any
thematically
sense.
What was in this box. Or I could say that all these explosives are shit and suck, but at the very bottom of the box, there was a core battery that you were able to salvage. So which of the items do you think fits that you want most as a possible reserve from this?
So Artemis was looking for explosives, so I'm going to go with explosives, possibly as a form of bombardment, maybe something that I can retool to maybe use as something in the mission later.
Okay, yeah, we'll call this bombardment. So you can add reserves, bombardment, and then in parentheses, malfunctioning. And make sure you let me know when you use this.
Okay, so I will... Okay. Gotcha.
All right, great. Who wants to go next?
I can go if no one else has a strong desire.
All right, yeah, Evelene, what are you up to? What are you doing between now and then?
I said I was gonna do it, and now I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna fix that frickin' shield room finally.
Ah, yes, the room that in the DVC that you were kind of rushed before, Evelene, so it's okay. Yeah. We all understand that there was time pressure involved.
It's a matter of pride at this point, though.
But yes, Curry is a little bit busy right now, making the DBC space worthy again. So you're gonna be that's probably why this is gonna take up your downtime action, because you kind of have to do most of the work yourself here.
Sure.
But If you'll remember, I believe the last time we did this as your downtime action, you got the result that was basically you'll have to do this another time, but that's about it. So you don't actually have to roll on this.
Yep, I have that in my notes.
Yeah,
I just do it.
Yeah, you just complete it. You're back from the mission. You're kind of pissed off because you're like, man, this would have been useful on the mission, maybe, or at the very least, we thought it would be useful. But now you get to sit down, kind of like take your time, and you're like, oh, that's why this turned off the coffee pot. It was like a kitchen wire goes down past this room. I don't know why we cut into it thinking it was the main power conduit. But you're able to reroute all of the wires around the room and kind of make a little Faraday cage type thing that is able to like keep out scans and make this like a little black box part of your ship.
Yep. And I think once it's completed, I think at one point, maybe when everyone's in the ship, everyone sets off like I don't know, do we have like a loudspeaker or something that would like make an announcement for the entire ship?
Yeah, there's comms on the ship. They come like, so you know how there's wall panels? If you make an announcement on the ship, it just comes out of all the wall panels at once.
I'll say there's a very important announcement I'll give the room number. I won't say it's the shield room. I don't know if anyone will remember it's a shield room. I'll say like there's something I got to announce in room 34B. And just to have everyone show up there.
I'll show up.
I'll show up and say, Astro looks sleepy. You woke him from a nap. I'll say, what's this all about?
Finish the
Rubbing his
fucking
eyes.
shield room. And I'll just kind of motion. I'll motion at the room. I assume we're all in there, just standing.
Oh, well,
Dyne will do a little golf clap.
I could have waited till after my nap, but hey, good job. And he kind of pats you on the back.
And now I'm going to get drunk.
Sounds good. Thumbs up.
Curry, like with his arms crossed, looks around the room and goes, oh, I'm surprised you were able to do this all yourself. I could have taken some time off to come help you.
No. It was out of personal pride I needed to get this done. So, mission accomplished. And you got enough on your plate as it is.
I mean, yeah, you're right. So, hey, I'm glad you did this.
Wow.
Claps you on the shoulder.
I was going to offer you some whiskey, but now I'm going to keep it to myself.
Listen, Evelene, I'm real tired. I need to get more holes patched.
Fair enough.
Good job, Evelene.
I'll take a long swig.
I'll get you for this, he says as he backs out of the room and then walks away.
I'll just look at Dyne like, why is this my fault? I wasn't the one who
really, really wanted a drink, but he's got too much work to do.
Yeah,
it wasn't my fault.
Torsay shrugs and thinks, I think he wanted the whiskey.
Okay, I'll give him some. I'll follow after him and I'll hand him the bottle if he's not too far away.
He takes it. He looks at it longingly. He hands it back and says, I still have so much work to do.
Look,
he looks really sad and defeated.
Look, as soon as I sober up, I'll give you a hand.
All right, I appreciate that, and we'll share it when we're done. Okay?
All right.
I hate explosion holes.
I'll just end up walking by. What's up with this room?
Were you not even there?
Nope.
Oh, you didn't say anything about getting me, I didn't think, but...
I mean, that's 100% on character, but I just find that hilarious.
I think she did,
hey, what's up with this room?
Oh, yeah, Evelene fixed the shield thingy. I'm going back to sleep. Night. Bye.
Dyne just walks by and he goes, now we have an actual room to store the hostages on the next mission. And then leaves.
Eveline's alone in the room now, and she's like, "Woo!" and takes a swig.
Torsay wanders off, going, "I hope we don't have any more hostages." As she walks away.
Is it soundproof?
I mean, yeah.
I like the idea of me asking that and you just going, looking around the room and going,
yeah.
You know what?
You're just like, wait, let me check as you lock Evelene in the room. No.
All right, Evelene. Well, you were able to successfully add basically a nice little function to the ship. So if you guys ever need to hide something from scans or, have a little extra security, you guys now have that set up.
That sounds very useful.
All right. Now, Ryan or Rock, what are you guys up to?
Go ahead.
You mean Astro?
Astro. Astro is who I meant.
I kind of want to try to gather information. I'm a little torn on what I want to try to gather, though.
Okay. Well, gather information can definitely be like a foray into getting a lead on something. So if there's like a general thing you're trying to learn more about, like a large scale thing, gather information in that direction might give you like some leads that'll start getting you that direction at least.
You know what? I think I'm more interested in like where the chip came from and like what's going on with the casino. So I think I'd like to gather information about that.
Okay. Yeah. So this can definitely give you some information leading into that for sure, Z's.
Yeah.
So narratively, tell me like what kinds of things would you be looking into or following up on to get this?
I'd probably start off with asking information, just general information from like people around. And then depending on what I get from that, I may like try to like sneak around outside or around the casino.
Mm-hmm. You kind of like case it a little bit ahead of time before the date to see what it's like normally before you get there on the date of the ship and things like that. Yeah, so totally. So yeah, let's go ahead and roll a gather information pilot check. So what are you going to roll?
I'm word on the street or act unseen or unheard.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess they could get me different things.
Yeah, those are both very good options for this. I would say they would get you different pieces of information depending on which you used.
I'll just go with like general information from what I get from people, and I think I'd rather case it. Yeah, so I'm going to do act unseen and unheard.
Okay.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah, so you're more looking into like picking up information that is like not necessarily just on people's lips, but things that might get said when people don't think other people are listening and things like that. So because that's fine. Okay, because act unseen and unheard is like you're going to get some information that people would talk about when they think no one else is listening, basically. Word on the street.
I meant for like casing the place.
Oh, yeah. Act unseen and unheard would be more casing, and word on the street would be more like talking to people.
Yeah.
All right. So which do you want to do?
The act unseen and unheard.
Got you. Okay, so yeah, as you're casing the place and trying to see what's going on here kind of ahead of time, yeah, go ahead and roll up your pilot check, and looks like you got a 9. Okay, so that is tragic. That is unfortunate. That's the highest you can get and get the lowest. So on a 9, you choose 1. You get what you're looking for, but it gets you into trouble straight away. Or you get out now and avoid trouble, but don't get any information.
I'll get out.
Okay. Yeah, you get out. So basically what happens is you start casing the place, but Rock, the affiliation is like better organized than you gave them credit for. They are the ones who own this casino, and like you're actually kind of impressed at how well run it is. I don't know like what kind of impression Rock had of the affiliation going into this, but I would say that, you know, the base information you get from failing this role is like you're impressed at how well the affiliation kind of like keeps its shit. Right. There are professional people like watching what they say, watching the entrances, you know, keeping people out. The private places are kept private and the public places are watched. right? Like, so you know that when you guys come back here on the date of, there's not going to be an easy way to get around like filiation, observation, or control. So that's something you kind of like, even though it's not a success, that's something you have to expect at least when you come to this casino.
Sure. Okay.
All right. And then lastly, we have Astro.
Yeah. All right. So, I wanted to also gather information, but I wanted to learn more about the accidents that have been happening at the iridium alum mines, besides the one we were directly involved with in that one mission a year ago. I want to gather information. I have a few maybe ideas about how to approach this. One is like on this planet, Moot. I'm thinking, these mines, there's a lot of corporations out there that have stakes in these different mines, particularly. I'm just blanking on the name. What's the big corporation that John Smith was from? What's it called again?
Manticore?
Manticore, yeah, thank you.
Corp. It has a P on the end of it because that's the joke I was making. Yeah,
exactly. Indeed. So I'm thinking a lot of big corporations and obviously Manticore have a stake in these mines. So maybe on Moot there's like an information broker I can seek out that like gathers info from private corporations and stuff, and maybe I could see if I can seek like that out and buy some information.
Good news. So this is, kind of the underworld faction planet. So the corps don't have any official presence on the planet, but there are a variety of groups that keep tabs on the corps and what's going on there because that's their whole deal.
Yeah.
So you just tell me which faction you think you would want to get this info from, because what info they have and how they would give it to you is very different for every faction. So there's the Affiliation, the Free Space Pact, Sid, Periapsis, the Ruin Chain, and Cloak are all the major underworld factions that have like a high presence on the planet. There are also like subgroups that are on this planet too that aren't as big a name as those like other kind of like, imagine they're all like tier 3 factions. They're like up there in terms of the underworld. There are a couple like tier 2 and tier 1 operators on this planet as well that kind of use this as their thing. But those are kind of like the groups that have the largest stake across this area. If you want to work with like a smaller person as well, that's fine too, but it will mean different things, and what they have access to would be much different.
Gotcha. Okay, so we've had dealings with the Ruin Chain, so we have a relationship there. So I think I'd seek out the Ruin Chain and see what information I could get from them.
Okay. Who is your contact with the Ruin Chain you'd be reaching out to, or are you making a new contact with them? Do you know anyone with them currently?
I don't know.
What type of role are you trying to get to for your thing? Are you trying to do like a gather information? Are you trying to do a get connected? What kind of thing are you looking to do here?
Yeah, I was thinking gather information, but get connected could be an interesting thing to do instead. Because get connected says, let me find it. So yeah, I like get connected. Your contact will help you, but you've got to do a favor, make good on a promise afterwards. Treat this result as a 9 or less next time. I think I'm going to try to make a connection in the Ruin Chain. See if I can find someone who is like, who could be my conduit to, like happenings that are going on with the megacorps that they're getting a hold of. So he could kind of pass along information as he hears about it. Like kind of stuff on the down low that's not available on public records. So yeah, I think I'll try to like make a new contact from the ruin chain. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so we're gonna come up with like a new contact in the ruin chain that you're going to be kind of like communicating with to get some information that would be like kind of like a person stationed on this planet for the ruin chain's interests who maybe has some insight into that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we can determine how much that person knows and how much they're willing to give to you based off of the efficacy of your role. So let's go ahead and do that.
Okay, cool. So let me look. Get a hold of something. This might work. Acquire useful allies, assets, or connections. Yeah, what do you think about using get a hold of something?
Yeah,
for this role?
We could use that for getting a hold of this information. Yeah, acquire temporary or permanent allies. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Through wealth or social influence. You just got paid and you just did a job for the ruin chain. I say you have social influence and wealth. So
yeah, for sure. All right, let's roll it up. Get a hold of something. There we go.
Had as we're now in the red.
Oh man.
You guys are not doing good on your
I rolled
on your downtime checks. Luckily, Evelene didn't have to roll because hers was an auto success. But man,
yeah, that's the only reason we succeeded at one of these.
Can't fail if you don't roll.
I rolled an 8, by the way.
All right. So on a 9 or less, your contact will help you, but you have to do a favor or make good on a promise right now. Otherwise, they won't help you. So basically, you're going to need to do something up front to make them part with this info. So what I'm going to say, and if I come up with a name organically, we'll use that. But for now, we'll say you have a contact that you've met for the ruin chain who has some information on like corporate dealings. They are actually part of a faction that's not exactly Kalian's faction in the ruin chain, because the ruin chain is subdivided a little bit. But they're a member of the tacticians group of the ruin chain. They are often the people who are like keeping tabs on everything else. They also tend to be kind of like the least likely to commit to action. They're a little bit of more the slower moving part of this group. They want to make sure everything's a guarantee before they say yes to something. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's kind of how they're treating you as kind of like a new associate. They want to make sure that you can do good stuff for them before they're willing to give stuff to you. So what they're going to ask you to make good on is before they're willing to give you any more information on what they know about what's going on with the Iridium alum and various things, you are going to have to get for them info like usable or bribable or like exploitable information on one of their enemies first before they'll give you this. They want to do tit for tat information trade. They will tell you what they know on this if you're willing to make vulnerable someone else for their benefit.
Okay. Quid pro quo.
Yep.
Okay. Astro will agree to that. I think it's worth making a little investment here in gaining a contact. So yeah.
All right, sounds good.
Any enemy, like anyone in particular you want to know information about?
Yeah, anyone else. I don't have like a character voice for this person yet because I'm gonna figure out who they are as an ongoing person for you. But what they're gonna want from you is information on anyone that they could potentially use it against. And the thing I'm looking for here is basically you either need to acquire like usable information against an enemy, which can take some time and resources to do, or you have to give up information on one of your allies that they might find useful. You know what I mean? So like either way, I'm going to want something out of you that is like harder to get a hold of, right? So either find some information on a mutual enemy that both of you don't like, or maybe sell one of your friends down the river to help them out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have info on other people that you like, but maybe they don't, and stuff like that. So if you want to, you could do that right away. But otherwise, you need to go get something that you can trade.
An idea occurs to me. In the last mission, what was the faction that was like that was trying to prevent us from using the gate?
Periapsis.
And that's where that hacker guy we took hostage was from, right?
No.
Or he was working. Oh no, he was in that.
He was hired by Periapsis, but he works for Sid.
Right.
Yep.
So
and that's the thing. Things get muddy here because like a lot of these underworld factions work with each other, but also hate each other in other ways, right? Like everyone is working with each other all the time and competing with each other all the time. So.
What was his ridiculous name again? Shoot. I wrote it down on my other computer, but I'm on my laptop today.
Ruination Condition.
Yeah, Ruination Condition or whatever.
Ruination Conditioning. Yes.
Conditioning. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
my bad.
So I'll say, I'll say to my contact, I agree. I'll try to get you something. And I think what Astro is going to do next is seek out Ruination Conditioning. Maybe he can, like hire him to like hack into like some Periapsis servers or something and get me something useful. I'm going to try to find him. I'm not sure how I'm going to look for him. Maybe he seems the kind of guy. Is there like a space 4chan or like a space Reddit or some nerdy like forum that all the hacker losers would be on?
If there was an absence of one, I'm sure one would be created to fill the void. So I'm sure there is one.
Yeah. So I'll check the network here on Moot, the local hacker forums and stuff like that. Because I have a feeling he's probably very active on them. And I'm sure he uses his tag online as well. So I'll just kind of do a query for Ruination Conditioning on some of these hacker forums.
So
I assume it's like a...
Here's the thing, Astro, is that you have worked with Sid a little bit, over the year of downtime you guys had. One of the things was as you were getting better and better at like using technology and hacking and learning from Torsay and things like that. This is one of the things that you gained some familiarity with. And what you know is that most of Sid are independent operators, and this is exactly how you would go about finding one of them. But there is a barrier of entry. This isn't like, just open stuff that anyone can get to. So you're going to have to make a pilot check to get his information. It is not as easy as just querying the forum and seeing his name pop up. In that even getting into the forum itself is almost a proof of you deserve to be there, right? Like that is how they've structured their stuff. To get onto their private chats and things like that and their posts, you have to be able to get into them. So you need to do something to get into them first.
Yeah. Okay, this could be get a hold of something too because I'm trying to.
Yeah, this is no longer a downtime action. You're now just playing the game. So we'll just play things out, as they make sense as you do them.
Okay.
Your downtime action was finding and meeting someone from the ruin chain that would have info, making contact with them, doing all the intro stuff. So like imagine that talking to that person from the ruin chain probably took a few days, like meeting them, learning that you could deal with each other, them giving you like, these are my terms and stuff. And now you're just like seeing if you can get that for them. So
Yeah, so my downtime activity is completed, and now I'm just following up on
Exactly.
what I need to do. Cool, got it.
All right, so yeah, go ahead and make a pilot check to see if you can get into these locked forms.
All right, I will get a hold of something, and let's roll it up. I rolled an 11.
On 11, that is a success. So you are able to get on the forms. You are able to find basically a whole thread about that seems to be about people who it's almost like a warning kind of thread to be like, watch out, if you work with blank people, because they have these problems and stuff like that. And you're very easily able to find someone bitching about like not getting paid well for a periapsis job they did recently, and how everything went sideways. And like, you can tell by the whiny nature of this poster, you've probably found Ruination Conditioning's post.
Yeah. He has a voice
Yes.
that we know well now. All right, so I'll create an account. I'll use the online handle Vance Powers, which is the name of my character in Deathbot Chronicles. And I'll send him a message saying, hey, Ruination, you might remember me. It's Astro. We intercepted you on that periapsis job not too long ago. I was wondering if you wanted to, if you'd be interested in a real job, and you'd get paid for it. Let me know.
I don't think you buttered him up enough.
The response is almost instantaneous, Astro. You get a direct message that just basically is like, hey, yeah, yeah, I remember you. You're the one who locked me in the brig for all those days while I was riding on your ship. Didn't you capture me and lock me up?
I'll say yes, but we also let you go too. That's better than most mercenary groups. Then I'll just follow up and say, listen, I know you're one of the best hackers around, and I feel terrible seeing your talents go to waste with a outfit like Periapsis. If you're interested in something real, just let me know.
Okay. Astro, I now need you to make a pilot check to see if you successfully made that sound genuine.
All right, so I'll do a charm. Oh, that did not sound genuine.
That's a 3.
I rolled a 3.
It sounds very condescending, is what it does.
Yeah.
So yes, you've definitely he has you on red is basically what's happening. COMET. You can check later to see if he responds eventually, but you're not going to get a quick response from this.
Okay.
He's there and he's read your message, but he has not responded.
Yeah. Occasionally I see like the dots pop up that shows he's typing, and then nothing nothing shows up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what was he writing?
Yeah, he actually has a script that does it on and off just to mess with you. He's not actually typing anything.
Oh man.
Oh god, yeah, he is a student of psychological warfare.
Yeah.
All right. And does anyone else have things they want to do before we move on to the casino side of this?
Dyne just wants to make sure that after he's finished sorting through all of the explosives, that the ZF4 gets fully upgraded with the new thing, new parts.
Okay, so that's what you're kind of doing in the weekish left that you have leading up to the casino.
Yeah, the reserve that I had said, based on my last roll, as long as I obtained all of the parts, I would automatically succeed.
So the problem is it still takes a downtime action to do, though.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll say
I'll
that
just
you've
assemble the parts.
Yeah,
and get them ready.
I'll say you've sourced the parts. The next time you have a downtime action, you just need to do it, and you have what you need.
Okay, well, I mean that makes sense. I think Dyne was more worried about random unidentified explosives than the weapon at the moment.
I'm sure.
Thanks, Artemis.
I'm sure you wouldn't get shit for it forever if a random unlabeled box of explosives happened to go off in Astro's ship. No problem there at all. It's not like you shot a hole in it once. You're becoming a little bit of a loose cannon there.
Evelene did it.
I do not know how that would go, but luckily we don't have to find out because you took the safe approach.
Okay, so Dyne will just sort the parts and make sure it's all ready.
Okay, cool. You
Make sure everything's present.
You make the plans, basically. In fact, what I would say is now that you have the info and now that Artemis can kind of travel with you, I imagine she helps you kind of with this a bit because she is kind of your weapon system, basically.
Yeah.
She is your weapon system. So yeah, she definitely has a lot of input on it. And by this point, you've become such a proficient technophile that you're able to understand her in ways that other people wouldn't, where you know how to sort kind of like the level 1 priority comments from like the level 3 priority comments, even though she says them with the exact same tone of voice. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
This is a thing that she actually means is very important. This is a thing she says is important, but it's just more important than not important. You know what I mean? Like, you get a little bit more insight into how she expresses herself. All right, cool. And Chimera and or Rock, anything else you want to do leading up to this?
I think in the remaining time I have, I'm actually going to follow through with helping Curry fix the ship, because it has dawned upon her that maybe fixing the ship was more important than fixing a room we may not use.
Curry appreciates this. He is like, oh, good. I hate explosives. They always leave such jagged tears and rips and everything. There's so many more pieces that need replaced than fixed now, and it's a nightmare. So he just gives you like an entire list of sections that he wants you to double check, because part of his system for fixing the ship is like going through and like fixing and replacing a lot of things and then going back through and running tests to make sure that everything was good. He's like, and I believe this will be a lot better if a second, less tired set of eyes does it. So I want you to go through. Here are the places I've worked on already. I'll keep working ahead of you, and please just double check that everything is right.
I like to think while all this is being said, Dyne is walking by with the box of explosives.
No, just the dud explosives that he's carrying very nonchalantly that you don't think you should carry explosives with.
But yeah, no, I will
Curry shudders.
I will start working on the list he's provided.
All right, sounds
As
good.
Dyne walks by, he just yells, "Could be worse. Could be the cannon."
I'll give him a dirty look, like, don't talk about that.
All right, sounds good. And Rock, how about you? Anything else you want to do specific-wise before we head off to the casino, the date and day?
Nothing I can think of.
All right, sounds good. So we're going to go ahead and call this the end of our first recording today. That kind of gets us caught up to date with where we're going to start this next session, and see what happens following up on this lead. All of you have gotten your loadouts pretty set up. You got paid, you made contacts, you talked to new people, you did new things, and we'll see how everything goes next session.
Cool.
Sounds good.
All right, well, take care, everyone. We'll see you next time, and have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.